and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. And tomorrow night, live on the WWE Network, a group hell-bent on causing nothing but chaos will go head-to-head with a threesome focused on nothing but positivity in a tables match. Also, an architect who was robbed of his Intercontinental Championship will go one-on-one with that same show-off who robbed him of his title for 30 minutes to prove who is truly the best. And finally, a phenomenal champion will put his title on the line against a Bulgarian brute hell-bent on tearing down the house that he built. But before it's time for those 30 minutes of competitive wrestling, before it is time for that phenomenal champion and the Bulgarian brute to fight, before it is time for Extreme Rules, it's time for the rundown! Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another video right here on YouTube.com. This is, of course, the official rundown for WWE Extreme Rules pay-per-view, which is streaming live tomorrow night on the WWE Network from the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with the pre-show starting at a special time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to talk about all the matches and everything that could possibly come out of the matches. And I'm going to start with the pre-show match. Talking about Sanity versus the New Day in a tables match. Now, I do not know if this is elimination or not. We are going to find out on the pre-show. I can expect this match to be every bit as chaotic as I think it is going to be. And there's really only one result that can come out of this. Sanity defeats the New Day. Sanity needs this win. Sanity needs to start building momentum since they debuted on SmackDown Live. Sanity has a huge opportunity. Sanity has a huge opportunity to really get their first major big win, especially on a pay-per-view. Hopefully this leads to Sanity versus the Bludgeon Brothers, because there's been a lot of rumors going around that The Miz is truly going to cost Team Hell No the tag team titles, and we're going to get The Miz versus Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. We're going to see how that plays out. I expect a very hard-hitting, competitive, chaotic six-man match. Of course, we're going to get some tables involved. If it's elimination, so be it. If it's not, so be it. Regardless, someone's going through a table, and I expect Sanity to walk out victorious. Sanity to beat the New Day. You know what, let's just get this match out of the way. Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley. If this match main events, get ready for Beat the Traffic Part 2. I cannot stress it enough to you that this match cannot main event after everything that has happened with Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley, and the fact that this feud has gone absolutely nowhere. It's not even for a number one contendership. It's not for the championship. It's not for anything. Roman Reigns does not deserve to be in the main event at all, let alone main eventing over the WWE Championship. What has Roman Reigns done to prove that he deserves to be in the main event at all? Seriously. Outside of his U.S. title reign and his Intercontinental title reign, everything else was undeservedly handed to him. He's had 3 world title reigns inside of 6 months. He won the Royal Rumble over Daniel Bryan. He main evented 4 WrestleManias in a row, and he owns a victory over The Undertaker at WrestleMania in the main event. You really think he's earned that? What has Roman Reigns done to prove to anyone, other than his looks, that he deserves to be in his position? He's done absolutely nothing. So, I don't expect Bobby Lashley to win this. There's been reports going around that he might, but I really don't expect him to win this. I expect Roman Reigns to win. I expect Roman Reigns to win, and I expect Roman Reigns to continue on this supposed underdog road to redemption, which is going to result in him being booed out of the building once again at Extreme Rules and at SummerSlam, should he face Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. And that's all I got to say about that. Hopefully it doesn't main event. Hopefully it doesn't main event. Most likely it will. most likely I might turn it off. Let's talk about the 2 championship matches that I believe the titles need to change hands. One of them is Asuka versus Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Championship. If you think that Carmella is doing even a halfway decent job as SmackDown Women's Champion, there is something mentally wrong with you. Carmella has, without a doubt, been the worst SmackDown Women's Champion that I think I've ever seen. And I'm even counting Alexa Bliss. I'm counting Natalya when she had that reign. At least Natalya knew how to wrestle, and Natalya actually did more with that title than Carmella is doing with that title. The fact that Carmella owns a victory over Asuka is sinful. It is absolutely sinful. Asuka, we all know that Asuka should be portrayed like a dominant force. This needs to be the end of it. This needs to be the point where Asuka wins the title. We got Ellsworth suspended in a shark cage. I really don't see how this is playing out any other way than Asuka defeating Carmella. She needs to win. If Carmella beats Asuka a second time, I will have lost all faith in the SmackDown Live Women's Division. I've already lost faith in the Raw Women's Division now that Alexa Bliss is champion again. But now I'm going to lose faith in the SmackDown Women's Division. Asuka should have won at Money in the Bank. Asuka should have never lost her streak at WrestleMania. The streak should have been broken next year at WrestleMania 35 to Ember Moon. But, you know, you got all these people saying that, you know, the streak was getting boring and Asuka didn't need it. Whose fault is that her streak got boring? That's not her fault. That's WWE's fault, because WWE doesn't know how to keep something fresh. NXT kept it fresh. Triple H kept it fresh. I was never bored with Asuka's streak. The people that were part of the minority. Asuka should have never lost her streak, but that's out of our hands now. Now, we need to take the title off of Carmella because she's done nothing with it. She can't wrestle. Her promos are cringy and annoying, and Ellsworth has done nothing to enhance her character or her title reign. Give the title to Asuka and build towards Asuka versus Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch has been on a roll. Build towards Asuka versus Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, so we can get a women's match that we should have gotten at WrestleMania with Asuka winning, this time with Becky Lynch. Asuka to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. The second match that I believe the titles need to change hands, or the titles specifically needs to change hands, is the U.S. title match between Jeff Hardy and Shinsuke Nakamura. Matter of fact, I don't even know why they didn't make this a no-holds-barred match, because this match really called for it. But I think that, realistically, this match, along with the IC title Iron Man match and AJ vs. Rusev, that could very well end up making the show watchable. Now, I could be wrong, and we could actually get a decent match out of Carmella and Asuka, but based on their past history, I doubt it. We could get a good match out of Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, since it's Extreme Rules, and we could get a good match out of the Bludgeon Brothers and Team Hell No. Matter of fact, I hope we do. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm just going based off of what's happened in the past and the fact that WWE, they just continuously make the same mistake over and over again. But Jeff Hardy has been injured for a while now. I think he has a pinched nerve. Something's the matter with his tailbone. I think when he does the swanton, that hurts his tailbone. I think he has like restless leg syndrome or something like that. Regardless, he's injured and he needs some time to rest up. So the proper thing to do would be taking the title off of Jeff Hardy, placing it on Nakamura. Nakamura should have won the WWE title, but U.S. title's the next best thing. Give the U.S. title to Nakamura, and have Nakamura run with the title until October, and have Almas take it off of him in October, and then boost Nakamura up back to that WWE Championship title picture. Maybe we can get Nakamura versus Joe down the line for the title. But right now, Nakamura needs to win the U.S. title. I think it's going to be a very good match. I think it's going to be one of the matches that actually make the show. And I believe that Nakamura is going to win the U.S. title. And Nakamura is going to have a dominant reign with that title. And he's going to end up losing it to Almas sometime later in the year. So Nakamura to win the U.S. title. Let's talk about the Leaders of Worlds versus the B Team. Now, ultimately, I said that, I don't really expect a good match out of these two teams. Ultimately, I could be wrong, but what they've been doing for the past number of weeks hasn't really been too much of a great program. It hasn't really been that entertaining as everyone thought it was going to be. B Team is merely a bridge, as I reported a few weeks ago. The Authors of Pain will be the team to take the titles off of the Leaders of Worlds at SummerSlam. The Revival were seen in the back watching over the Leaders of Worlds. So I can see the Leaders of Worlds retaining over the B Team, and then the Revival facing the Leaders of Worlds sometime between now and SummerSlam. And then, at SummerSlam, we're finally going to get the Authors of Pain as Tag Team Champions, and that is going to be the end for the Leaders of Worlds. And the Authors of Pain are going to have a dominant run as Tag Team Champions. Perhaps we could get some new call-ups in the future. You never know. But I call the Leaders of Worlds to defeat the B Team. Let's talk about Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. Now, I actually think that we were robbed of this match in NXT, because if we saw Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin for the NXT Championship, I say that would have been and could have been a damn good match. But they ruined both of their characters. This whole Constable Corbin thing is not entertaining. It's not working out. The fact of the matter is that they're just putting him in that role because they have nothing for him. If it was up to me, I would have put Baron Corbin against Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship. He does not look good in that suit. He's a corporate Kane ripoff. We don't need another one of those. Finn Balor, they've ruined his character. They haven't presented him in a relevant position in God knows how long. I mean, as soon as he came back, after that Extreme Rules Fatal 5-Way match at Extreme Rules of last year, he was put in that feud with Bray Wyatt, and no one cared about him anymore. And I've been saying that he should be the one to face off against Brock Lesnar in a no-holds-barred match at SummerSlam, and he should beat Brock Lesnar. But based on what they're doing right now, it looks like they're going to have Roman lined up again. And we're going to have another candidate for worst match of the year. And surprise, surprise, it's going to feature Roman Reigns. Again, I just really hope this match is good. I really don't expect too much out of this match. This doesn't even have a stipulation on it. If it was up to me, I would place a stipulation on every single match. The pay-per-view is Extreme Rules. I mean, they should really treat it like Extreme Rules. I would say just give the win to Balor here, because Corbin doesn't need the win. Corbin doesn't need the win at all. Finn Balor needs to go in there, and he needs to reestablish himself as a worthy competitor for the Intercontinental or the Universal Championship. The fact that Finn Balor hasn't had a pay-per-view win in 2018, that's just sinful in its own right. But give the win to Balor, so that way we can move on with this whole thing. And that's that. And supposedly we might be getting Jason Jordan versus Constable Corbin at SummerSlam. So that will be that. Finn Balor to get the win. Let's talk about the Bludgeon Brothers versus Team Hell No. Now, ultimately this could end up being a very good match. I don't really expect too much out of it. But we do have some pretty good competitive wrestlers in there. In Harper and Rowan and Bryan. Kane's not really going to do much. Kane can't really move anymore. Kane is very slow. Though he's better than The Undertaker at moving and doing whatever moves that you need to do, Kane really has lost his mystique. And Kane really doesn't have any relevance on WWE television anymore. I can see Team Hell No losing, but I could see The Miz swooping in, distracting either Daniel Bryan, probably distracting Daniel Bryan, most likely. Kane is going to eat the pinfall, and then we're going to set up for Bryan versus Miz at SummerSlam. Kane is going to go run for mayor, because the Bludgeon Brothers should not lose the titles to Team Hell No. I think that the Bludgeon Brothers are going to lose the titles to Sanity at SummerSlam, which I've been preaching for a long, long, long time now. So I can see the Bludgeon Brothers winning, but with an assist from The Miz. Because The Miz, he's kind of been a middleman in this situation. And he does not have a match on Extreme Rules. But you know that some way, somehow, he's going to factor into the tag team title match between the Bludgeon Brothers and Team Hell No. Because remember, In the back of our minds, we want that feud with Daniel Bryan and The Miz, and I think this is the gateway to it. So The Miz is going to cost Team Hell No, and the Bludgeon Brothers are going to retain the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. Let's talk about the Raw Women's Championship. The Raw Women's Championship picture has been terrible for the majority of 2018. Aside from that one match with Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax back at Money in the Bank, because that match was fantastic. But, you know something, I said this yesterday on the Lightning Flash update. I said that Ember Moon has been undefeated since she's gotten to the main roster. She hasn't been pinned nor submitted. But yet Ronda Rousey is going to go into a program with Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam, when realistically Ronda Rousey hasn't done anything to earn a title shot. I have no problem with Rousey. I think that she's adjusting very well and she's been doing great. But realistically, she hasn't done anything to deserve a Raw Women's Championship match against Alexa Bliss. And Alexa Bliss, she has been champion for 460 days, approaching 460 days, and she's been on the main roster for about 700. I mean, if that does not tell you that Alexa Bliss is the female Roman Reigns of the Raw Women's division, I really don't know what does. Now, ultimately, I could end up being wrong about this match, and Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss will put on a good Extreme Rules match, which I hope that's the case, because I really want this feud to be over, and I do want some good wrestling on Extreme Rules pay-per-view. But something just tells me this is just going to be the same thing that happened last year with the Extreme Rules Fatal 5-Way match. A standard kendo stick, standard chair, standard announce table spot, and Alexa Bliss is going to avoid taking all the bumps. And Alexa Bliss is going to win. Nia Jax is going to lose again to Alexa Bliss. Hopefully it should be a decent match. I mean, they haven't put on a decent match so far, nor do I expect them to. But we're going to see how that plays out. Ronda Rousey is going to be at ringside, so Ronda Rousey is going to, somewhat at least, I think she should play a factor into the ending of this match. We're going to see how it plays out. But Alexa Bliss is going to retain over Nia Jax. Next, let's talk about the Intercontinental Championship 30-minute Iron Man match between Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins. Drew McIntyre will be allowed at ringside because of the fact that he beat Seth Rollins. This, without a doubt, could very well be one of the best matches of the year on the main roster, per se. Seth Rollins, he already has a match of the year candidate in store for him with The Miz at Backlash. Now, he could very well do the same with Dolph Ziggler, and I actually expect him to, because Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, they are two of, if not the two best in-ring performers on Monday Night Raw. Now, there is no number one contenders match for the Universal Championship, so part of me thinks that Ziggler is going to win in an extremely good Iron Man match, one of the best matches of the year. Ziggler's going to win, and Rollins could very well make a strong case of why he should be challenging for the Universal Championship. But you got to remember that Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley, they have that whole spiel going on, and you know how WWE can't get enough of Roman Reigns for whatever reason. I mean, he really offers no value. But you take a look at Seth Rollins, and you're thinking, well, if Roman Reigns and or Bobby Lashley is going to be involved in the Universal title picture with Brock Lesnar, where does Seth Rollins go? Unless they put him in a number one contenders match with either Roman or Lashley or both to see who's going to face Lesnar at SummerSlam, because there is no number one contenders match at Extreme Rules. So until they make it clear on how they're going to find a challenger for Lesnar, Rollins is really directionless should he lose this match. Now, part of me wants Seth Rollins to win because I really want to see Seth Rollins in a championship title picture, but the other half of me wants Ziggler to win, basically because of the fact that Ziggler deserves a lengthy title reign for all the hard work that he's put forth, and the fact that Rollins, I want him to move on to the Universal Championship, and we could very well get Ziggler versus McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. So there's a lot more value in Seth Rollins losing and going on to face Brock Lesnar for the Universal title than Seth Rollins winning and being stuck in the mid-card again. it's a tough choice to make. It's a very tough choice to make right down the middle. But if I was going to choose, I guess I'm going to have to choose Seth Rollins, because I don't really see where Seth Rollins goes from here should he lose this match, unless they're going to put him against Brock Lesnar. So, I mean, I hope I'm wrong and Ziggler wins and Rollins goes on to face Lesnar, but really, realistically, I see Rollins walking out victorious. And that's pretty much that. I see Rollins walking out a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. Now on to the main event. Now, wait, did I miss something? Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. I don't think I did. I don't know why. I feel like with every rundown that I do, I kind of always go a little faster and faster, and I kind of feel like I'm not really saying everything I need to say, or I missed a match. But regardless, I believe that is the end, and we're going to talk about AJ Styles versus Rusev, the match that should main event Extreme Rules, because it is for the WWE Championship. In hindsight, this should be an Extreme Rules match as well, but I'm fine. I'm fine with it as it is, mainly because of the fact that Rusev is getting a title shot, and he's earned it. He's damn sure earned it after all the hard work that he's put forth. So I'm glad they're giving Rusev this opportunity. I would put him in the main event against AJ Styles to see what he can do and to see how Rusev can perform in that main event spotlight, especially with a guy like AJ Styles, because AJ Styles, he could lead a broomstick to a 5-star match. So you can imagine what he could do with Rusev. You can imagine the innovative spots that Rusev and AJ Styles could put forth. You can imagine the fact that AJ Styles and Rusev, you're gonna have a huge atmosphere with the universe chanting Rusev Day, AJ Styles, Rusev Day, AJ Styles. This could ultimately end up being the match of the night. Do I expect it to? It's got some tough competition with Seth Rollins and Ziggler and then Hardy and Nakamura. It's got some pretty stiff competition, but we're going to see how that plays out. Regardless, I think it's still going to be a very good match. It should main event the pay-per-view. And, you know, there's a part of me that wants to see Rusev win, but the rumors going around about AJ Styles challenging Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam and then Hell in a Cell, I'm going to have to go with AJ Styles based on the fact that AJ Styles has a much bigger future ahead of him in another dream match with Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. So AJ Styles to defeat Rusev. If Rusev wins, I'm going to be shocked beyond my imagination, because I don't think that Rusev is going to win this. I want him to, but I don't think he is. AJ Styles to retain the WWE Championship over Rusev at Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rundown. I would like to thank each and every one of you who tuned into this video. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at TheDJStorms. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do not forget to check out the Lightning Flash update if you missed it yesterday. And do not forget to check out the Lightning Flash update next week. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms, and this has been The Rundown. You have a great weekend, and enjoy Extreme Rules.